I'm just trying to give you a different way of looking at what so far you have been hearing about divinity. And we can talk. We can talk. There is freedom. Hmm? All right, so you live in time and space, material world. All the physical stimuli, electromagnetic stimuli, light stimuli, every stimuli that is going into your mind from the physical environment, in which your mind is making you aware, translating literally for you, mind. Supermortal in design, not from here, extraterrestrial. Name it. Start thinking boldly and differently. Because the spiritual universe where you are going, you will, each and every one of you, is already, even as you are on this planet, already you are going through a change that is even not easy to decipher or understand. You just grow. You didn't know that you grew, but you just find you're growing. You were a baby, but now you're 6 feet tall. You didn't know how it happened, even in your mind. Start believing that the creators are in charge and they are not operating with mortal mind. Mortal mind is finite mind, designed for a perfecting being, created imperfect deliberately by the creators so as to initiate unchallengeable consciousness in the future spiritual destinies. What you're going through now will have cultivated in you intuition, spiritual insight, so that you stop walking by faith. Instead, you shall walk by spiritual insight in the spiritual universe. The transformation that you're already going is because your immortal soul, if you are God-fearing and you believe in the fatherhood of God and sonship, you gotta believe. If you don't, it's all right. Why? Because you've been given free choice, will. God can't take back that which he gave you freely. And so with the decisions of mind, you perish or survive into eternity. No other way to say it. It's a serious situation because right now we are killing each other left and right on this planet because we don't know the plan of God and because we are playing God. But it's okay. We are babies. If a baby is in a diaper, and that's what babies do, you as a parent, you also do what you need to do. And so the creators have infinite mercy and compassion. They know your weaknesses. They created you that way. And they give you free will. So that now, with your free choice, you can choose God or here. But when you choose God, I want you to begin to perceive that any conceptual frames of reference in your mind are based on what you've been seeing in the physical world. And the physical world is not the spirit world. Only God in you can conscientize, realize all your desires to know the truths you are reading, listening, and mind discriminating between truth and falsity, guiding you all along throughout. That's why the Spirit of God in you from 0 to 20 they are called the mystery monitors. And from 20 to 40, they are called the thought adjusters. But from 40 onwards, to the time you cease breathing, they are known as the thought controllers. Because the work going on at that time in your superconscious is related to your eternity. Your immortal soul is your greatest responsibility when you are here on the planet. Why? Because it's architectural design and growth by the gods, the Spirit of God in you. That foundation is designed that you first desire to work with divinity. Father, may your will, and you used to point up, but now you know he's in you. And you're saying, Father, you don't have to speak loud because now you're communicating mind, mortal mind, to spirit mind of God inside. You have to think differently. No one, and I know, no one has ever talked to you like this. I know. Because you have to be spirit-led and spirit-taught. First you read the books, and you read like many of you are doing. That's why you are so loved. That's why all of you will make it. But you read, and you're like, it's not making sense. Until it's not making sense because the creators are still building your spirit capacity, your capacity to receive spiritual information and knowledge. They are building it up as your faith is growing. That's why there is no faith that can be called childish. That's why none of you should be in the business of being the observer of what others are doing. No, take care of your business. How are you relating with the Spirit of God in you before you think of others? God has not given any of us that freedom to invade the intellectual space of another being, another person. That is why throughout the universe of universes, creation is centered around the individual. The individual is very important. Right now on this planet, we focused on the governments and stuff. And it's not my place to visit on the socio-economic, political, because I speak spiritual. That's where I am. However, when the law of life, the law of God begins to seep into our consciousness, and we begin to see the big plan that this world for everyone, this world is a bridge. And a bridge has only one function: to get you from one end to the other. But if you hit halfway on the bridge and you decide to build a home, a house, then the news people might have some real news, not fake news, real news. All right, let's get back to business. You know, we have to stay on the business. And so, in this world, it's a bridge. No one owns anything permanently. You're designed to eat 3 plates of food to be satisfied. I got $1 billion in the bank, but still 3 plates. So, there needs to be a complete restructuring founded on the plan of destiny, which is that on our stay on the planet, through our desire to imitate the nature of God, then our spiritual estate, we are participating in that creation of the spiritual estate, the immortal soul, and it's a dual cooperation between you and the Spirit of the Father in you, and surrounding you and enveloping you. The spirit gravity force of the eternal Son, who is absolutely and always into eternity one with the Father. An infinite Spirit conjoining force, power, and energy from paradise with the infinite plans of divinity. The transformation you are going to undergo is a transformative, metamorphic translation of you, which I am telling you will stagger your mind, because God is pure energy, pure spirit. And the Spirit of God that indwells you, you need faith to even begin to comprehend what I'm saying. That Spirit of God is indwelling beings of many different natures, but intelligent beings who can know God, who desire to be like God and to see God. And those beings, the plan of creation, which is not yet very far still. There'll be many eternities in the future when creation is still going on. But the beings that are intelligent and can know God like you are designed to cover 7 trillion inhabited planets in 7 super universes. You don't know. And rather than blindly be saying, when I die, I'll wake up in heaven, begin to realize the infinite archive of the mind of God, which you can hook up to for the secrets of the universe of universes. And me and you are brothers and sisters. And we're supposed to share everything we know that is of value to each other. You may not know anything that I'm. If the truths of God don't amaze you, if the truths of God don't make you think this Zach is crazy, something is not right, because you thought that when you watched the Marvel comics and movies, that was imagination, but you haven't yet seen. The Spirit of God, those fragments of God's spiritual infinity in you, when they leave you, moments, because sometimes they leave you for important work in paradise, because you can survive without them, but work is going on. But when they leave you and travel to paradise, remember, they travel above time and space, and it is said they can also travel over the gravitational forces from paradise and even the mind circuits from the infinite Spirit. Can't you hear that this is different talk? And can't you hear it's not rehearsed? My brothers and sisters, today the Spirit is saying, let them know it's different. Time and space, the material worlds of time and space, matter is originally from the primordial forces of paradise, which have been acted upon by the beings that have been created and responsible for that, and until it becomes, gravity sensitive, those powers. And the material matter is the end result, precipitates for the material universes of time and space. All the books that you are reading have a lot of good stuff about God. But just like the baby outgrows that suit which daddy bought the baby at 10 years, even you need new spiritual outfits. You need to know how you're going to resurrect. You need to know when you are here on this earth what you need to do to make that a bountiful event. But where is it happening? You need to know about the Paradise Son who created you, Jesus and the Holy Spirit. You need to want to know what kind of beings are they. If they are the source of all mind, what kind of beings are they? Are they, and where do they sleep? Where do they live? Where do they stay? These are real. You are a son of God and a daughter of God. You have to begin to see yourself very, very differently, because you really are very different. You are not animal, no more. Yes, me and you start off in animal bodies, descended over many millions of years through the work of the infinite spirit and the eternal Son. Evolution is not a chance event, not even a bit. You should really take it. I have released a lot of works, but no one should be forced to want to know about God. You will never be forced. The effort is yours. But when you do that effort, you can hear by what I'm speaking. It's not your normal Sunday talk. It's reality. Religion is a faith, trust, and assurance in the goodness of God. When you have faith, you believe, you have assurance, because faith is the supreme assertion of your mind. You have religion. But revelation brings you truth from eternity, whether you know it or not. Truth is changeless and is forever. When will you get to know about the ancients of days, who are some of the first beings to be created by the Trinity because of the organization of the material universes of time and space in readiness for us mortal finites? When will you know about the 21 ancients of days who rule the vastness of each of the 7 super universes? Faith is so that what is hard to believe, then by faith you receive it. You see, let me give a good example so that you may know how this faith issue works. You see, entry into eternity is by faith in the fatherhood of God. God, knowing the physical hardships he had put us in, also made it very easy for everyone to move on towards greater and greater perfection and away from the animal nature, which all of you, I'm sure, everyone knows the thrill of the pleasure escape from pain. Only a mortal can know that. And so, when will you know about these beings? When will you know about the 7 master spirits? Yes, John the Revelator in the book of Revelation touched on all these things, but because of the times, very briefly. And now the light has come. And if you're willing to know, you will know. Because, for instance, when John wrote that Revelation, it's 2,000 years going. And it went through a lot of corruption. And its beauty and grandeur, the new Revelation says, is really being corrupted. And that's why sometimes it pays all the trouble we took to want to read the manuscripts the way they were. Because Apocalypse is Yesu Christu, is the revelation of Jesus Christ. Hinedokên αυτό Theos, which God gave to him. Vixetis dulis αυτού, hagigenest entahi, to show his servants what must soon happen. Now, I speak differently. You need to understand, when God says, I'm not a respecter of persons, it means that you are just as important as those who wrote those books. That means God can give you revelation that is relevant to the times you are in, that is even useful to generations, hundreds of thousands of years to come. And this is why this talk, God talk, may sound complicated, but please realize that the generations of the future will be far advanced spiritually. And what I'm saying that may look silly and crazy right now will be like obvious things to them. Think broadly. Expand the time frames of your mind. And if you think in terms of 5,000, expand it to 100,000 years. And if you think like that, expand it to 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000 years, because eternity means forever. Eternity, the eternal continuum, the fragments of which are called time. Time and space is a derivation of paradise because the creators determined to create you in the promulgation of finite realities in a distant past. I am happy to talk like this out of the ordinary because it makes you think. The long journey, a transformative and metamorphic journey of ascension that boggles the mind because you left the animal nature, and if an immortal soul was built for you, it was fused with divinity, God, making you a son for a reality experience that honestly you should begin to think about, and not just be saying, oh yeah, I'm going to die and wake up in paradise. Mind is why you are given mind. Make use of it. It's an infinite archive because the mind of the infinite spirit is just that, infinite. So, you will resurrect in the mansion worlds of resurrection. And they're not too far, but you don't have spiritual vision. Jerusalem, the spiritual capital of our system, consists of 56 architectural spheres. And Jerusalem itself, the capital, is 100 times bigger than this planet Earth. And it's made of more raunchier material, semi-material, semi-spirit stuff of such grandeur and glory, they say mortal mind has not been designed to imagine such. Where you gonna resurrect? Eh? Engage your mind on such spiritual truths for a sustained, more than theatrical experience as divinity takes you, not just through the expansivity of the 100,000 inhabited planets planned for the constellation, but also through the capital of the local universe where the mansion of lights is. And that's where Jesus is. Jesus is now a member of what is known as the Supreme Trinity Ultimate. If you knew what that is in relation to the distant plans of eternity, I can't share a lot because it's a lot. If you're not saying wow every day in your spiritual journey, change track and never do anything because you want to please another human being. Don't be putting your plans too much on a being that is under the guidance of God in her or him. God is able to do what he wants to do best with you. That's why Jesus told the disciples, he said, hey, he was asking a question, somebody was asking us, he said, I'm a representative of the Father to the individual, not to the group. And before he realized he had said too much and stopped. Keep going back to that. You see, you need to remember, for instance, this is just a small break. Let's take a small break. For instance, when Gabriel, CEO of the universe, was sent by Jesus to visit Elizabeth to inform her that she will be with child and she needs to call him John because John is going to talk about the Messiah. But when Gabriel visits Elizabeth, remember Gabriel is from the spiritual reality, and our mortal vision is not designed to see spiritual things. Otherwise, all of us would be talking about what we are seeing. But it's a long process to get to that kind of super material reality sensitivity. It's a journey, but it can happen. So when Gabriel comes to see Elizabeth, Zachariah, and all those, the power directors, they are called the Morontia power supervisors, together with the master physical controllers and other many physical agents that are used by the paradise sun. The universe that you are in is, you will need to wake up and begin to be spirit-led and spirit-taught so that now the universe can come alive, because only another being who has gone through what I'm saying will tell, because it's an unchallengeable consciousness of spiritual realities. That's all I can say. You need faith. Be like a child. Come, get the information. And from the local universe, after those 570 Morontia changes, semi-material, semi-spirit bodies, each a virtual resurrection, and you become a first level spirit, and you're taken to greet the paradise sun who gives you the certificate of citizenship of Nibodon, which will allow you now to continue with the journey of ascension in the minor sectors and major sectors in the super universe. You don't know all that. And so I'm hoping in this God talk, we can cover some of that. So you can see. Adios, brothers. My time is run out, and I love you all. This is Dr. Zach saying adios.